Hi there, welcome to MBMR Anti-Bribery and Anti-Corruption Training. Thank you for joining this online training. Once you have completed this online training, you will be required to complete the Anti-Bribery and Anti-Corruption test. For any further information or clarification, you may contact the Group Legal and Governance Department. In this training, we will explain the definition of bribery and corruption, laws pertaining to anti-bribery and anti-corruption. We will also explain its policy requirements and control measures. What is bribery and corruption? Any act of soliciting, offering, giving, accepting or receiving gratification, either by way of directly or indirectly, as an inducement or reward to a person, to do or forbear to do anything in respect of any matter or transaction, or with the intention to deceive or in abuse of power. What is meant by gratification? Gratification means money, donation, gift, fee, reward. It also includes the offer to give employment or rendering of services. Payment and discharge of loan also part of gratification. Besides that, discount, commission, rebate, bonus, deduction, and protection from penalty, action, proceedings. Effective the 1st of January 2009, Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2009 was enforced. Under the Act, the main offenses are 1. Soliciting or receiving gratification. 2. Offering or giving gratification. 3. Using office or position for gratification. 4. Intending to deceive. For example, a government officer was sentenced by court under the Act for receiving bribe in a form of Rm 30,000 in cash, Rm 30,000 in check, and a golf set worth Rm 2,500. In return, the officer promised to approve and ensure smooth running of an acres housing development project. In another case, a dean in a public university was sentenced by court under the MACC Act for acknowledging the false invoice for the supply of sports equipment worth Rm 138,600. Under the Act, the perpetrator can be sentenced to maximum 20 years of imprisonment and minimum of Rm 10,000 or 5 times the value of the bribe, whichever is higher. On the 1st of June 2020, Corporate Liability Clause under Section 17A of Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act was enforced. Why is this clause significant? Section 17A of MACC Act 2009 introduces a concept of corporate liability in Malaysia. A commercial organization can be held criminally liable if any of its associates or persons, such as employees, directors, partners, or external service providers, commit an act of bribery or corruption for the benefit of the organization. Even the organization, such as the upper management or its representatives, did not authorize or approve the bribe. Who are liable under Section 17A, MACC Act 2009? Senior management, partners, directors, employees, and any persons acting on behalf are liable under this provision. The penalty for the offense should be fined of not less than 10 times the value of gratification in question, or 1 million, whichever is higher, or imprisonment of not more than 20 years, or both. An offshore vessel support company was charged under Section 17 AMACC Act due to involvement of its director in bribing its chief operating officer of a local oil gas company. The bribe was a reward for being awarded as a subcontractor for local oil and gas company. The amount of bribe was Rm 321 and 350,000. The enactment of this provision raised a crucial question. How does commercial organization defend itself for the offense under the section? The defense for any commercial organization under the section is that the commercial organization must prove there are adequate procedures in place to prevent associated persons from committing the corrupt acts in its operations. However, this raises another question. How to ensure that anti-bribery, anti-corruption procedures in place is adequate? To assist commercial organization to implement adequate procedures as required by Section 17A of MACC Act, Prime Minister Department in December 2018 published Guidelines on Adequate Procedures or GAP. It's a guideline to assist commercial organizations in understanding the adequate procedures that should be implemented to prevent the occurrence of corrupt practices in business activities. The guideline developed based on trust principles, which are: T stands for top-level commitment, R for risk assessment, U stands for undertake control measure, S for systematic review, monitoring and enforcement, and lastly, T for training and communication. MBMR Group is committed in maintaining the utmost integrity in its business and operations. Hence, MBMR anti-bribery and anti-corruption policy was developed in accordance with trust principle under Guidelines on Adequate Procedure, GAP. MBMR Group, through the policy, adopt zero-tolerance approach towards all forms of bribery and corruption. Hence, all forms of bribery and corruption are strictly prohibited. Even a perception of bribery or any behavior that give rise to suspicion of bribery is to be avoided. This policy does not only applicable to the directors and employees of MBMR Group, but also applies to third parties who have dealings with the group. Under the policy, our responsibilities are: 1. Familiarize and understand the applicable requirements and directives of anti-bribery, anti-corruption policy. 2. Promptly record all transactions and payments accurately in reasonable detail. 3. Always raise suspicious transactions or any red flags to immediate superiors for guidance on next course of action. 4. Constantly be alert to any possible indication or evidence of violations. 5th. Promptly complete any trainings and assessments provided by the group, as well as a test to comply annually. 6th. Consult MBMR Group Legal and Governance if there is any uncertainty of the required action in a particular situation. Now let us address another question. What is the policy in relation to the gift, entertainment, and travel, or GET? The directors and employees are strictly prohibited from directly or indirectly receiving or providing gift, entertainment, and travel to influence business decisions or with a view to improperly cause undue influence on any party in exchange for some future benefit or result. However, the directors and employees are allowed to receive or provide gift, entertainment, and travel only if the non-negotiable or compulsory requirements are met, as follows. 1. It must be lawful and void of any corrupt or criminal intent whatsoever. 2nd, it must be given or received in an open and transparent manner. 3rd, it does not affect or be perceived to affect any business judgment, actions, or decisions of the recipient. 4th, it does not give rise to any expectation of any specific favor or improper advantages from the intended recipients. 5th, the gift, entertainment, and travel must be within the thresholds or approved by the relevant approving authority. Please note that the threshold stipulated for this category strictly applies to receipt of gift, travel, and entertainment only. Prior to providing or receiving any gifts, entertainment, and travel, or GET, the employee must ensure compliance with non-negotiable and compulsory requirements, obtained approval from the relevant approving authority, in other words, superior, in accordance with the level of authority, and submitted the required anti-bribery, anti-corruption declaration form. On the other note, are we allowed to accept or provide gifts without anti-bribery, anti-corruption declaration? Yes, we are allowed to accept or provide gifts if they are regarded as acceptable gifts. What are acceptable gifts? Acceptable gifts are 1. Exchange of gifts at the company-to-company level. For instance, exchange of gifts at MBMR Group and its business associates to mark the beginning of new business partnership. 2. Gifts from company to external institutions or individuals in relation to the company's official functions, events, and celebrations, such as appreciation gift to MACC officer during MBMR Integrity Day. 3. Token gifts of nominal value or bearing company logo, which are given out equally as part of company brand building/promotional activities. For instance, distribution of stationeries bearing MBMR logo to the visitors during a trade fair. 4. Gifts from MBMR or its subsidiaries to employees and directors and/or their family members in relation to an internal or externally recognized company function, event, celebration, or bereavement, such as lucky draw to employees during the company's annual dinner. 5. seasonal or customary gifts or token to or from counterparties or business partners. For example, Christmas gifts to MBMR business partners. How about entertainment? Are we allowed to accept or provide entertainment? Yes, we are allowed to accept or provide entertainment, subject to the applicable terms and conditions. The terms and conditions are: the entertainment must not be solicited in any form from counterparties or business partners, whether directly or indirectly. The entertainment is also limited to meals only, subject to approval of the relevant approving authority. Lastly, any invitation to social events or entertainment, such as annual dinner and golf event, may be accepted within reason, such as relevancy, with employees' scope of work. It must not be lavish, or the entertainment or event does not become a regular feature which may influence business decision-making process. For travel, are we allowed to accept or provide travel? Yes, we are allowed to accept or provide travel, subject to the applicable terms and conditions. The terms and conditions are: 1. Purpose of traveling must be only for legitimate business purposes. For example, facility inspection, on-site examination of equipment, contract negotiations, or training. 2. Prior approval or approval must be acquired by the relevant approving authority. Lastly, traveling is not prohibited by law or by the policy of the other party. How about donation, sponsorship, and corporate social responsibility, or CSR? We are allowed to accept or provide donation, sponsorship, and CSR, subject to the applicable terms and conditions. In addition to the non-negotiable and compulsory requirement, they are subject to the following terms and conditions. 1. Ensure that these activities are not used as a subterfuge for bribery or used to circumvent the prohibition of any similar act. 2. Conduct due diligence on the requester to ensure that there is no risk of perceived improper advantage for the group, and the recipient is a well-established entity with adequate organizational to guarantee proper administration of the funds. 3. Ensure to obtain approval from the relevant approving authority, together with submission of anti-bribery, anti-corruption declaration form. In addition to the prohibition on solicitation of gift, entertainment, and travel, the group prohibited any act of solicitation, payment, and political contributions on behalf of MBMR Group. What is facilitation payment? Facilitation payment is payment made personally to an individual in control of a process or decision to secure or expedite the performance of a routine or administrative duty or function they are otherwise obligated to perform. For example, facilitation payment at a manned border crossing, where the officials deliberately delay the release of a company's cargo until they receive a personal payment to allow entry, even though processing the cargo is part of their official duties. Political contributions in any form on behalf of MBMR Group is strictly prohibited. However, directors and employees who wish to contribute their own time or money to any political activity or fund shall be deemed to be doing so on an entirely personal and voluntary basis. The MBMR Group hereby disclaims all connections or associations in relation to its directors or employees' personal political contributions. Declaration must be made in any provision and acceptance of gift, entertainment, and travel. How to make the declaration? Upon providing and accepting gift, entertainment, and travel, declaration can be made by completing anti-bribery, anti-corruption form. After completing the form, please acquire approval for the declaration from approving authority. The approved form must be submitted to Group Legal and Governance. Under the policy, you are obligated to perform an annual attestation. How do you fulfill this requirement? First, read and understand the anti-bribery, anti-corruption policy. Second, make the required declaration by signing the attestation form. Lastly, submit the form to your human resources accordingly. Last but not least, before we end the training, kindly complete your particulars as requested in the form and answer all questions by choosing an answer for each questions. Click Submit for submission, and please note that the passing mark for the test is 100%. You are required to retake the test until you obtain the 100% passing mark. That concludes the MBMR Anti-Bribery, Anti-Corruption online training. Should you require any questions on the policy, please do not hesitate to contact Group Legal and Governance. Thank you.